Well, here we are again. It is what's the date? The 18th of July, 2022, third decade of the 21st century. I'm going to forego a preamble. Stace, this video right here is essentially for you. Um, I have been having a tremendous amount of difficulty with this particular laptop. So, at the risk of oversharing, I have two laptops. The original laptop that I've been doing these videos on, I took to the office and I've left it at the office locked up. This laptop, as of recently, it has the exact same software that comes with Microsoft Office, does not seem to want to upload or transfer or bring the audio over. So it's just video without audio. And I've made numerous attempts. I have no idea what's going on. So I think what I'm going to do is record these here and then take them to the office, produce them at the office, before the day begins. I tend to get there early and then see if I can get them published with audio and see if that works. So without further ado, I'm thinking like over a month. I've made numerous videos trying to respond to your responses. So ha- let's give it a shot. So responding to the videos regarding Uvalde and the Second Amendment. The reason why I didn't go back and respond to the other video about getting out of the way was because of what happened in my state. While I do not use my degree was in education, so school shootings always affect me mentally. Yeah, on that particular note, not to get sidetracked, Stace, but yeah, same here. I've got a Bachelor of Arts in Homeland Security with a focus on counterterrorism. I completed that before I retired from the Marine Corps, and then I went back to school for a degree in cybersecurity, uh, which basically focused on physical security, not so much coding and everything. So I know what that's like not to use your degree. Believe it or not, I am a supporter of the Second Amendment. However, there are certain weapons that I do not believe should be covered under the Second Amendment. I grew up hunting with my father and my stepfather. I have no issues with handguns, pistols, rifles, or shotguns. I have no issue with the states that have the defending the property. But I think you're talking about the castle law. I do have issues with the automatic weapons that have been used in the mass shootings. My stepfather, my dad, has been a stout supporter of the NRA and yet also has been butting heads with the NRA recently due to also having issues with modified weapons and automatic weapons. I do not have issue with Matthew McConaughey visiting because he's from Uvalde. Let me stop right there. Uh, on that particular note, my understanding, my interpretation of the Second Amendment is that we as citizens should absolutely be allowed to own everything the military owns in order to defend ourselves against the military should our elected officials become too corrupt and too powerful and attempt to turn the military against us. That's my interpretation. Understandably so. While a private citizen could potentially own military weapons, the procedures you have to go through with the ATF, the licenses you have to secure, the background investigations, and then the justification you have to provide in order to secure a license to own certain weapons, specifically militarized weapons, like automatic weapons to be exact. To the best of my knowledge, the average citizen, regardless of what state you live in, is not allowed to own an automatic weapon. And Stace, I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. I just don't know what your knowledge base is. So, an automatic weapon will continue to fire once the trigger is pulled until you release the trigger. A semi-automatic weapon will only fire whenever you pull the trigger, but because it's semi-automatic, you don't have to reload the next round. It's automatically loaded. So all you have to do is just keep pulling the trigger. Some people have admitted to being upset at aesthetics. So the AR platform, Armalite rifle, the AR platform, which looks like the M16, M4 that the military uses, uh, apparently has a certain appearance that people don't like, and for that reason, They've even said, admittedly, that they don't like the aesthetics of it. So it had the aesthetics, the appearance has a lot to do with it. Um, I don't know that, like Uvalde or more recent shootings, if the assailants are using automatic weapons, then I would venture a guess that those weapons are already illegal. Thus, owning them and procuring them is already an illegal act, in which case, to go on and further use them in a mass shooting is illegal. On that particular note, let me go through this and then see if there's anything else to add. Um, I do have issue with Beto interrupting the first press conference, but I understand why he did. His emotions, I believe, got the best of him. I do not believe he interrupted for a political tactic. On a lighter note, I always think of what Eddie Izzard said on the NRA. Guns don't kill people, people kill people, but monkeys do too, if they have a gun. Well, um, Taya Kyle recently did an interview with a Pat. Oh God, I apologize, but at the risk of stammering, trying to figure out who he was or who he is. And she said the biggest thing is if you go all the way back to Columbine back in 1999, and Stace, I'm going to assume you and I are close enough in age where we remember Columbine and the subsequent media frenzy and the amount of attention that those two, Dylan Klebold and I forget the other. So the fact that there's attention associated, that it's guaranteed media coverage, that in Taya Kyle said in her belief, part of the reason shootings or mass shootings have become so popularized is because of the amount of attention the shooter's going to get. Where if we stop celebrating, and I don't mean celebration as in yay, but if we stop giving the attention to the shooter, then it may, in her opinion, it may take away from the appeal of mass shootings because you're no longer getting the attention, the glory you're seeking. And I think that's a valid point. On top of the fact that, it just makes me wonder what goes through somebody's mind to reach the ultimate conclusion that, that's what they have to do. And I'm not saying I'm trying to understand. I know the most recent one I think was Highland Park, a suburb of Chicago where I grew up. What was the parade for? I mean, I'm not trying to condone it, but I try to understand. If it was like an anti-gay parade and the shooter was, a very proud member of the LGBTQ community, and the people that was being shot at were anti-gay, at least I understand the substance. I don't have to agree with it, but at least I understand what you're doing. Is these are people who vehemently oppose your way of life, and it drove you to this point. I don't have to approve. I can at least understand. Uvalde, I don't understand why elementary. I just don't get it. Moving on. The only changes from the HBO Max DC Universe merge was that the DC Universe streaming services also had access to comics to where you could read the comics online. I watched Arrow, but really couldn't get into much of the other DC shows, even Gotham. I watched Constantine when it was on NBC and was sorely disappointed that it was canceled. I was thankful to see Matt Ryan return via the Arrowverse. It took me a bit to get into The Expanse, and then I didn't really watch it. However, I can always attempt to watch it again, as I do enjoy a lot of the cast for all their other works. Yeah, I know what you mean. I do tend to follow um, people from one project to another if I like them on the project. It's not guaranteed that I'll like the other project. Like Katie Sackhoff. I loved her as Aminette on Flash. I know she's been in a few other things. I never quite watched um, Battlestar Galactica, the remake. We started it, but for some reason it just wasn't catching us. I don't know. We started Stargate SG-1. We got all the way to season 6, and it just, I don't know, it seemed like it was the same thing over and over again, rinse and repeat. So we didn't finish that. I did watch Longmire with Katie Sackhoff, and I thought it was good up until the end. I understand in the book series, her character and Longmire hook up. I don't know. I guess seeing it play out was a much different, was just different. I don't know. Um, I'm trying to remember what else I responded to in this video. Are you kidding me? Really? Re- You're such a you're such a goof. Uh, why? Why? I do apologize, Stace. It's been a while. I've been trying to get the software to work, but to no avail. I can't seem to get it to work. Uh, it, the Arrowverse stuff. Um, I'm I'm in between on it. Good Lord, Ginger. Uh, some of it I liked. Some seasons I liked. Some of it I didn't like. I didn't watch Supergirl for not for any reason. I just didn't watch it. Um, I wanted to watch Superman and Lois because of Tyler Hoechlin and Bitsy Tulik. I just haven't gotten around to it. Stargirl, I think you said, is on a different channel. I was, and I've probably mentioned this numerous times. I was reluctant to get into the Arrowverse because, and I guess originally Justin Hartley was meant to have his own spin-off, but it didn't work out. Now I don't know if that was with Greg Berlanti or with somebody else, but because it wasn't Justin Hartley, I was not as interested. I did find that I enjoyed Arrow. I want to say the last 2 seasons were a bit disappointing. I can't remember 100%. Flash Flash was good. I actually started Flash from the beginning. I didn't start Arrow from the beginning. My wife did. Ginger, you're killing me here. Um, I also started Legends of Tomorrow from the beginning. Tragically, that ended abruptly. Didn't get the conclusion, and I think Legends of Tomorrow. I'll be completely honest. When they did that whole multiverse flip flop switch, whatever, and they brought in Bayrod or whatever. I got nothing against the actor or the character. I feel like the story wasn't as good. Like they were struggling for a new angle. Like back in the day when you and I were younger, and there was a kid on a show and it had the cute factor, but then the kid grew up and the cute factor was wearing off. So they brought in another kid to try to reinstitute the cute factor. Um, I don't know. I don't know. We kind of stopped watching Flash just to watch other stuff. And the one question I had for you, Stace, was are you a fan of Supernatural? Did you get into Supernatural at all? Um, because I don't know if we've ever discussed that. Because I don't know what your thoughts are on the potential prequel, and I don't know if you've been watching the newest version of Walker. And besides that, I don't know if any of the other videos addressed any other concepts you'd like to rehash, but my video's being hijacked by my lovely cat Ginger here. So tell you what, I'm just going to go ahead and sign off. Um, hopefully this will be a good segue, and hopefully I'll take this raw video footage to work, and the publishing software will include the audio, and I can get this put on YouTube with audio as well. So look forward to that. Um, Stace, I will tell you, I'm going to try and do another video, another 15-minute video. It's going to be a little more socio-politically charged. So if you don't want to watch it, I understand. Um, I've been trying to make that video as well, but again, same issues occur. So just a heads up, the next video, if I get it published, is going to be a little bit more socio-politically oriented. So until then, Stace, hopefully this works out and you and I can continue to nerd out on nerdy subjects and invite more people to nerd out with us. Until then, you're awesome.